All right, hello again, everybody. I am double stacking, so the tone of this one's going to be a little bit easier to swallow than the last one, but there's still like a well of emotions. So if I seem like I'm all over the place, you know why. This does go perfectly with the last video that I did. So I talked about this before in some other videos. I was making a distinction between a Minuteman and a DA guy, direct action. So today I want to talk about what a direct action guy, their role is going to be, the equipment they should probably have, and the missions they're probably going to do. So let's get into that. I plan on doing an in-depth video for all of these topics, but I wanted to start with the groundwork. Half of the things that I'm going to talk about, I am waiting to either acquire something so I can, practice what I preach and just actually show you what I'm talking about, or I'm just waiting for some of the products that I am trying to create with my company, Clandestine Carry Concepts. So that way you have examples and the reasoning is shown because that's why I built the product. That's why I made the product or the demo or whatever it is. But I still want to get a groundwork out there. So let's recap. What's a direct action guy? He is going to be, and I'm going to say he because 90% of the time it probably is going to be a he, but that is not to diminish or say that there will not be a need for female direct action personnel. I guarantee you they were some of the most successful, especially if you look at Nazi-occupied France. Yeah, go ahead and do some history searches. And yeah, those bitches be fire. So, DA guy is going to be directly taking the fight to the enemy. They are not going to be passive. They are not going to be securing their neighborhood. They're going to be doing clandestine operations in enemy territory, harassing as best as they can. The difference is they're not insurgents. They're not terrorists. They're not anything like that. They are simply people who have found a target and they're going to exploit the shit out of it. That's going to put a huge bullseye on them. And that's why discretion is the priority. I was in the military, right? I was in the Navy, and I was greenside for a while. So my military tactics are bare bones at the best. But I understand when you breach a room, you're going to want plates. You're going to want a fucking bunch of people on you. And you're going to want to have as much recon on that building as possible before you fucking go in. And what's probably going to happen in the civilian world, because it is not a battlefield, when this happens, what I'm envisioning is not a pure, your enemy because they wear a uniform. This is going to be civil war mixed with an actual major engagement. So, using your city as an example, you need to think about what are you going to attack? Why are you going to attack it? But you go into a building and you're not going to have nearly as much gear as funded military like that we have. You're going to be 1 to 3 guys with semi-autos. I'm sure there'll be plenty of fully automatic eventually, but in the initial stages, you're going to be having some semi-autos, and you're going to have limited ammo that you can carry on you because you are not going to be rucking 30 miles to an objective point to then recon to then set up an ambush. That's Minuteman stuff. That is a regular mobilized infantry unit under some sort of paramilitary organization. That's not what DA guys are going to be. DA guys are going to be taking their own initiative in their own community or communities adjacent to them. They're taking the fucking fight. These people are, for all intents and purposes, already dead. I'm telling you, they're going to exist, though. And I'm not just saying that because I may or may not be one of those people eventually. I'm simply telling you because I have met quite a lot of individuals who don't necessarily believe in fighting for a cause, but they will absolutely fight for their fucking home. And that's really the initial mentality behind this, right? We are not, and I say we as Americans and as veterans, as a veteran, I should say, we should protect our homes at all costs. Whether you have a family, whether you just have friends, whether you're a single bachelor and all you got's your pups, like me, my boy, he's napping right now. It's your home. And to let some foreign invader come in and take control of your local government and force you to eat rations, that's a no for me, dog. And if all of a sudden martial law comes down because our election didn't go according to plan, or our election went according to plan and tyranny just started reigning immediately, go fuck yourself. It's not happening. I am trying to put these videos out to give people the inspiration and the motivation to do these things, and hopefully give you enough education so you can live long enough to see the impact of your missions. Because if you're not with a group, you're going to die. And you just have to accept that. What I want you to do is to find a group that you trust, have a community within your community, and you keep that shit going. What I'm telling you is you should have a Minuteman militia. What the reality is, that's not going to be easy to do. Not everyone has that feasibly, the capability to do it. But there still needs to get work that needs to be done. So that's where these DA guys are going to come in. And sometimes a Minuteman is going to become a DA guy, and sometimes DA guys are going to become militiamen. There's a lot of travel back and forth between it. But the mission set, the role is different. And that's why I'm making these videos, to not necessarily give distinction between, but to just put you in the headspace so you plan for your mission accordingly and you have potential success. So, if you're a Minuteman, your role is more defensive. You are defending your community. You are defending your livestock, your water treatment plants, your power sources, things like that. As DA guy, when you're taking the fight to the enemy, those are your targets. You are ridding them of their food source. You are tainting their water supply. You are shutting down their electrical grid. You are shutting down their communications. You are derailing their supply depots. These are just generic things. I can't go into much more specifics, not due to being afraid of just putting myself on a higher priority target, simply because YouTube's just going to remove the video. So, unfortunately, I'm at the best of the fucking media that I upload to. But it's not hard to think about. What I realize is that people are so blind to what's around them until someone points it out. And I'll look at it this way, right? I'm from Chicago. I bounced between Chicago and northwest suburbs for all my life. Or at least I've lived in the state. And I can't tell you how many times people have been like, oh yeah, so how's the Bean? How's Sears Tower? How's all this? And I'm like, shit, man, I've never been to the Bean. I don't know. Let's go to Millennium Park. Let's figure it out. I didn't go to Millennium Park till I was 22. And I lived in the city. I would take the train downtown and be 3 blocks from it and never went to it. You just don't think about it. So when I tell you, oh, good job, me. Kicking the stool. That's right. My camera setup is so pro. When I tell you what to look for, what to target, you probably see it every day. And as soon as I put it to words, you already envision what you got to go for. Now, you're obviously going to encounter another Minuteman militia, or you're going to encounter an actual uniformed military. Like I said, man, this is our home. If you feel you are fighting for the right cause, I shouldn't have to say anything more. I swore an oath to defend this country from all enemies, foreign and domestic. And even though I'm no longer in uniform, I take that oath seriously. The only oath I take more seriously was when I raised my hand to be a hospital corpsman in the U.S. Navy. And I can tell you, one of the things they taught us in Corps School, and when you go FMF and you start working with Marines, is that in order to effectively treat under fire, you need to not be under fire. So what that means is that if I see one of my devil dogs get hit and there's just too much fire support for me to safely go in there and do work, that means me and that team need to make sure no one else is shooting. So we need to advance, we need to frag, we need to fucking ambush the shit out of them before I can render aid effectively. That's the Hippocratic Oath, right? In order to save lives, I need to take some fucking lives. Now, I'm not some fucking special warfare operator, all right? This is basic shit corpsmen are taught to do, and you just get better at it if you end up going the special operations route. So, I never deployed, never went overseas, never saw combat. So maybe all that shit will change if a bullet whizzes past my head. I can't say. We all think we're tough until something happens, right? Mike Tyson, like I said, everyone's got a plan until you get punched in the fucking face. Well, I've been punched in the face a lot, so I kind of know what that's like. But that aside, a DA guy is going to be taking the fight to the enemy by any means necessary. And that means the equipment and the usage of that equipment varies differently from militia. Militia and modern Minutemen are going to try and have self-sustainment. DA guy's not going to have that luxury. DA guy needs to hit fast and leave faster. I'll probably have to rephrase that and come up with a nice little catchphrase for it, but for now, that's it. They're not rucking 30 miles. They are going to their adjacent community in the dead of night, and they are doing fucking work. But it's intended work. All right? People probably think a DA guy is a special operations guy. The thing is, the special operations community has intel and resources far beyond what you're going to have. You are going to need to work with your Minutemen and your local community to gain information. You are not going to have the resources a special operations guy is going to have. The only thing that you're going to fucking have that's nearly equatable to them is balls. You are going to have balls just like them to fucking go out and do work directly. That's the closest thing you're ever going to be to a special operations guy in any form of comparison. Which is cool, yeah, but in a weird way, it's kind of easier for them to do the work because they have all of the resources the American military can provide. You don't. So if you're a fucking recluse, if you're a shut-in, people already don't fucking like you, I can tell you right now, you might get maybe 2 missions of varying degrees of success before someone fucking snitches, or before you fuck up because you don't know anything and you either never served or you never kept your skills up after you got out, and you're gonna get wrecked. It is what it is. But if you change your mindset to fostering community, building a network within your own and adjacent communities, and working in partnership with your Minutemen, your likelihood of success is increased. So the reason I call my channel Clandestine Carry Concepts is because I've been developing this concept of clandestine carry for a while now. Self-sustainment is still a priority, whether you're a Minuteman, a special operations guy, a U.S. military soldier, or a DA guy. It's to the degree that you can sustain yourself for engagements. That's the difference. DA guy is less than 24 hours. I'd say a full op should probably be like 2 to 4 hours. With planning, prepping, getting to the objective, all that shit, yeah. A mission should be done within 4 hours. And everyone's probably like, "What? I don't even know how long a mission should go, let alone that mission." Well, like I said, you need to already figure out how you're going to get there and do these things, and you need to fucking take initiative, all right? So when you hear from your local community that, hey, this power station's only going to have 1 guard tonight because the other one's fucking, he drank some tainted water and he's shitting his brains out. Okay, 1 guard at a main critical thing, guess what? You're going tonight. I don't care what you got on you. You are going to have to acquire it on the way. We're going to have to do some Metal Gear Solid shit. SOP, fucking, what was it? Acquire it on site. I can't remember the fucking acronym. On site procurement. OSP. I knew that. Yeah. So cool, man. Good luck. If you haven't already been preparing for this role, that's probably not going to be an easy thing for you to do. So now let's kind of start talking about the equipment. You need to get there fast, hit there fast, and leave faster. So you're going to be wearing relatively civilian-ish clothes. All right. You want to have like an M65 fucking jacket that's got a shitload of pockets, or you want to throw on some cargo shorts and cargo pants and shit like that. Yeah, cool. But the thing is, man, you gotta make sure you match your environment. All right. I live in the northwest suburbs of Chicago. The best way I could put it is like hipster, retro, like, yeah, hipster. I guess hipster. Skinny jeans, fucking iconic or ironic shirts, fucking beanie, ball cap, shit like that. Granted, the little bit further out you go, you start seeing like kind of, the Midwestern or the flannels, the fucking, the jorts, all that shit. But you got to know your area. All right. Bags, backpacks, dude, not tactical at all. Not a single shred of Molly anywhere. Your bag needs to be a traditional fucking JanSport with, fucking some stickers on there to throw people off. Weapons. I've already kind of talked about pistols because that was a big thing earlier. Just have something that can shoot. Trust when you bought multiple pistols in the same caliber, that you had one that you trained on, you bought one high point, you trained the shit out of that one until it fucking broke, and the other two high points that you bought, they're fucking good to go. You go and you do that shit. If you're going to do bigger operations, or if you're going to do more extended, or if you're planning for more extended fights, PCCs, pistol caliber carbines. Everyone's probably going to click off this video, which is already surprising because you watched 17 minutes with it. PCCs are the way to go for DA guys. I'm not saying you shouldn't have a fucking rifle caliber, anything. Like, no, that's different. We'll get there eventually. For hits, for missions, PCCs. Because you can stow that motherfucker. Usually, much better in a backpack, a regular fucking backpack, than you can an AR. You don't want to take apart your gun. I can tell you right now, taking apart your gun can lead to catastrophic failures. You're going to fucking lose a part. You're going to, well, I don't know. Maybe I have less trust of people who haven't been in, but I don't really maintain my firearms well. So maybe thinking like, just pulling a fucking pin and dropping down the receivers. Okay. Maybe you won't do that. But you're also disarming yourself. Yeah, maybe you'll still have one of your Browning high points, or your high points. I don't know why I said, because I was thinking high power. I saw a fucking high power the other day, and I was like, man, I want that. You'll have a fucking high point on you, but come on, what is that going to do? If a serious thing happens and you get stopped by more than 2 or 3 people, yeah, good luck. Your PCC is probably not going to help you either, right? Because they got fucking armor and you don't. Like I said, different mission set than a militia, right? The gear that you have should be all first line. Stuff that shit in pockets. You could probably have a battle belt. Just have like a fucking long sleeve shirt that you kind of go over and, fucking do the fucking the early 2000s shooter vest. That fucking the khaki white vest thing. Throw that fucker on. You need to keep it. You need to keep it on you. And you need to make it so no one takes a second look at you. And if they do take a second look at you, you got to be thinking about that too. Now, I'm going to tell you, as a bald individual, bald guys, you kind of fucked. Because if you wear a hat and then suddenly take your hat off, when you're trying to exfil or something like that, we kind of, if you wear hats, you kind of know if you do or don't have hair underneath. So that's kind of going to suck for you guys. But for people with hair, have a hat when you engage, take that hat off when you disengage, or vice versa. I may or may not bring a razor because maybe I'll have a full beard and then maybe when I leave, I just got a mustache. If you wear glasses, well, maybe have a couple of different sets of glasses on you or get some contacts. You got to make yourself fucking disappear, man. If you don't bring a change of clothes, you're not doing it right. You got to make sure when you fucking exfil, dude, you do not look anything like who just committed that. Or you can. It depends. What is your intent with your mission? DA guys are not supposed to... Let me rephrase this. The point of a DA guy is to get shit done, right? If your mission is to destroy or disrupt a power supply station, that's it. That's your goal. But that's not to say there may not be missions where you're leaving a message. There's plenty of times in history that people did that shit just to make other occupying forces aware that, like, oh, all right, so we got a challenge. We can't just leave our fucking guards, in these random ass places. We got to take this shit seriously. That may happen. In that case, maybe you do want to be seen. Okay. Got to get the mentality of it, though. And you got to prepare for every fucking thing. You got to make Robert Downey Jr. from Sherlock Holmes, the modern Sherlock Holmes. You got to make him look like he's underprepared. All right? And if you ever fucking seen it, the way he, envisions, 3 minutes ahead, super fucking unrealistic. But you got to plan for everything because you never know what's going to happen because you're taking initiative. That's the whole point of a DA guy. You are going to hear some intel and you are going to be like, let's put this op together and let's go tonight. And you got to find the right people to do it. The gear that you have is going to dictate how effective you are. This is not where I'm going to tell you you need to spend thousands of dollars on high-end gear. You could probably make do with some airsoft shit. I mean, Sibdiv, he fucking went to, I think it was Syria, with a fucking airsoft plate carrier. You can make shit work. Doesn't fucking matter. What matters is the skill. If you were going to put money into anything, don't do it on your weapons. Don't do it on your gear. Do it on your training. Training. Find a fucking guy that you trust, whether it's a YouTuber or some local thing. Find something that you think makes fucking sense. And I can tell you right now, there's probably no one who's teaching direct action shit. They're probably teaching you how to work with a conventional military unit, which isn't a bad thing. It's still training. But you have to take context into consideration and realize, okay, well, if they're teaching me how to stack up at a door and clear a fucking building, and I got 7 guys in a column, and I can trust all of them because they're fucking ex-spec ops shit, that's not going to happen when you go break into a supply depot and it's you and 2 other guys and you have a fucking warehouse to clear. I'm sorry, your tactics are not going to fucking translate over. I can fucking guarantee it. Maybe you shouldn't attack a warehouse with 3 people, but again, initiative, using the intel that you have. Maybe they're moving some critical shit. Maybe you need to acquire some big boomies, and you wouldn't be able to get that otherwise. You gotta think of it like you are playing a losing game, and you only got a couple of hands. You're bleeding chips left and right, and you are not even hoping to win to cash out. You're hoping to break even. I know that kind of sounds like being a martyr and, a little bit of what Afghanistan had. And you want to know something? There are a lot of military veterans and channels that have come out and basically been like, you know what? We got our asses kicked by a bunch of motherfuckers wearing cotton dresses in the fucking hills with AKs older than them. It's fucked up. It is. I would be super goddamn bitter. But that ties into another video I did about the one man, the legend of one man. One man with a gun. He can do something. One man with an idea can do something. One man with a mission can do something. Those people were convicted to the end. To the point where they would kill themselves to kill other people. I don't have that. 100%. I like living. I'm not afraid of dying. Actually, I'm not afraid of dying at all. I'm totally alright with it. So go ahead, FBI. Use that for when I'm fucking found hung in my own in my own house. IDGAF. But blowing myself up to blow up other people, that's not something I can stomach. Would I take a mission that I'm probably gonna die on? We'll see. Got to earn some change before we find that out. So train. Get to know your gear. Do not feel you have an excuse to save your money and divert all the funds that you've been saving up to go for that shit. Do some training. You got less than a year. All right. You got 9 months. You got 9 months basically to really figure out what the fuck you're gonna do. I would focus on as much training as possible. And I say that because I don't have a lot of training. I was in the Navy for 2.5 years. I was greenside for less than a year. Greenside means I was with Marines. All right. So I was with, the hard chargers, the badass guys. Barely had any fucking training with those guys. All right. So I know I need the training. And I'm relatively self-aware. So if I need the training and I was in the service, if you weren't in service or you've been out for over probably 10 years, you probably need training. And that's okay. I couldn't play guitar until about my 5th or 6th year of playing guitar. You know what I mean? You got to suck at something before you get better at something. The difference is, this ain't Call of Duty and you don't get to fucking respawn and try again. You got it one and done, son. So wouldn't it behoove you to be as best prepared as possible so you can do maybe 2 or 3 missions before something happens? Come on now. The equipment that you buy, like I said in my pistols video, it should be inexpensive but effective. The gear that you have, not expensive but effective. But you need to look non-distinct. You need to figure out what people look like in your area. You need to fucking dress accordingly. You need to act accordingly. And you need to keep that in consideration when you exfil. Things that you hit are going to be exactly what a Minuteman militia would protect. Now, the difference is there's going to be some overt considerations as well. Excuse me. There may be a military outpost that is, everyone knows about. Hey, you can't go down 355 this way because, outpost Charlie, checkpoint, blah, blah, blah. Okay. You need to have quite a lot of firepower before you hit an outpost. You need a lot of firepower before you take out officers and high-ranking individuals. And if you don't have that firepower, you are on a one-way ticket. But you may eventually work your way up to it because you were successful in these smaller operations. Everyone is going to think fucking Wolverines, Red Dawn. That's part of it, man. That is truly a part of it. But you got to remember, it's still Hollywood. It was Hollywood in the 80s when, fact-checking definitely wasn't a thing. People were just kind of throwing shit that looked good. We got to be better than that. But if a bunch of kids with some AKs could do some work, and we got our asses handed to us by a bunch of fucking old men with AKs in fucking caves and shit, we can do some work. It's all about the mentality. So, I know I kind of rambled a little bit, but this is the format I like doing. Hopefully you found some information from it, but this gives you guys a bit of an insight as to what a DA guy is going to be doing. In the future, I'm going to do some specific videos over what gear you should carry, what considerations to have, what kind of firearms to use, things like that. But for now, this is just me talking in front of a camera, getting my ideas out there. Peace.